Good morning. A lot of crowd. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to see you so numerous for this second edition of Next Design Perspective. Before starting the program, let me just share with you a few philosophical considerations. Sapiens is only 200,000 years old, and it represents only 0.05 seconds if we consider the age of Earth as one day. But in a fraction of this time, we have been able to create our own era, Anthropocene. Anthropocene corresponds to only 40 nanoseconds, which are billion of seconds, which is a time in the same order of magnitude of a nuclear explosion. Since 1850, year of the first application of fossil fuels, which triggers the first industrial revolution, thanks to the extraordinary acceleration of our fundamental human activities, our population grew 11 times. And our life expectancy became 15 years longer. Fossil fuel consumption grew enormously with a compound average growth rate of 7%. And the land covered with forests decreased by 1/3. In the last century, this caused a 40% increase of greenhouse gases, which clearly shows that we exceeded the capacity of our planet to digest the byproducts of combustions. We are simply burning too much, and we can't continue at this rhythm. Our global warming will become more and more devastating, and moreover, it will become irreversible and self-powered. While deforesting and emitting greenhouse gases, we might also have destroyed up to 40% of natural biodiversity at a rate which is 100 to 1,000 times higher than normal, and also increased plastic production 300 times with a compound average growth rate of 9%. The human activity for this balance sheet has been extractive production, with the exception of one. More or less 1 century after the beginning of Anthropocene, around the end of 1950, Sapiens made the first generative production with the invention of the chip. Already now, thanks to artificial intelligence, Sapiens can process amounts of knowledge which would otherwise be impossible to access. Within the next 2 decades, the total amount of chips will surpass the number of human neurons. And bioinformatics will create the first generation of Bjorks, which sooner or later will certainly develop the capacity to self-reproduce. This time has been named Singularity. The essence of my message is extremely positive. Not only the environmental damage we created during Anthropocene is relatively contained in all proportions, but it's highly reversible, also thanks to a kind of new semi-organic species we created. We are talking about the highest intelligent human activities, regenerative production. It means using the waste of our past extractive production as resources for the new regenerative production. Are we becoming scavengers? Yes. Scavengers of a very sophisticated kind. For example, the excess of heat caused by global warming is a kind of secondary energy which can be used instead of extracting, while cooling the planet at the same time. This is already being done at microscale level. Thanks to unlimited and free solar energy, atmospheric carbon will become the new well, instead of extracting from the soil, extracting from the air. And carbon will also boost its mineral applications with new materials like graphene. We can already design machines for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what the most influential scientists and writers since Charles Darwin, James Lovelock, the father of the theory of Gaia, described as the new era of Novacene in his last book. Novacene requires us to change the way we think and design. We have been the effect, not the cause. We have been the effect of planet abundance. But now we reached the limit and abundance is becoming scarcity. We cannot think linearly anymore because everything is complex and most of the time chaotic. Even the paradigm of science will have to evolve from determinism to probabilistic. We cannot be incremental anymore, relying upon technological roadmaps. We need to invent new, unimaginable technologies, new machines, new ways to regenerate resources in a circular way so that resources become infinite. That's radical thinking and pure creativity. And that's the reason why of next design perspective. Moreover, this is also the role of the industry as the ultimate responsible of building the society. I'm now pleased to welcome on stage the curator of Next Design Perspective 2019, Dejan Sudic. Dejan Sudic is director of the Design Museum in London. His career has spanned journalism, teaching and writing. Dejan was director of Glasgow, UK City of Architecture 1999, and in 2002 he was director of the Venice Architecture Biennale. He was editor of the Domus magazine from 2000 to 2004 and was founding editor of Blueprint magazine from 1983 to 1996. Dejan has published many books on design and architecture, including The Edifice Complex, The Language of Things, Norman Foster, A Life in Architecture, Shiro Kuramata, B is Bauhaus, and Ettore Sozza's The Poetry of Things. His most recent book, The Language of Cities, was published by Penguin in October 2015. Dejan was made an OBE in 2000.